Hello and welcome to the first UK versus after the Hero League Championships. I am Brett, no top 16 Dabby Pendragon, joined by Richard, XR Specialist of Sound Waves Plumber. And before we get into my week, how's your week been, Richard?
Yeah, all good. Hi, everyone. My week's been pretty good. Nothing particularly special. Played the latest of the one check gauntlet at locals. So this was Deku 2 playing the 60th One Fall Unleashed. And at least so far, I think with the gauntlet, my having actually played most of them now, I'm quite happy with where I ranked everyone. Like it sort of was what it was.
We did get a little bit of feedback from that video. That was from Nathan Squire being very upset that we did a one check podcast without inviting him.
That's fair, but yeah, we maybe should. I don't know. He's a big fan, but there's plenty of fans of one checks, and they're the good people. So, yeah, it was fun. What did I be? I beat Toga.
1, 2, 3.
3, and then lost against Cementos because he was just. I didn't draw the gas, and he drew lots of throws that he put 1,000,000 damage on.
That's fair.
The best part of it was game 2 against Toga. My opponent shuffled, cut my deck, and said, "Right, you one check 7th card down." I'm like, "Nah, I'm going to call you on this one. I'm going first." In fact, it might even been game 1. I can't remember, or game 2. I honestly don't remember. But yeah, so I draw my 6. I'm like, okay, this is a keeper. I play a passing the torch. There's no way the top card is the one. Obviously, it was the one. Well, yeah, somehow managed to shuffle that one to the top. But yeah, other than that, no, pretty good. Obviously, still knee deep in Genshin, as always. Enjoying Lantern Night, but yeah, just sort of checking out some of the old Yahoo previews, and then obviously watched a bunch of the HLC coverage.
The HLC was muted for us. I got to watch a bit of the final while Kyle was trying to go to sleep. And I got to play in it, of course. But I didn't get to see the power of Zeru's Flame at work, which is the one check that's coming from Yu Hakusho.
Is this a 7 diff?
Yes. Shane was playing it, Shane Duckworth.
Yeah.
And Cody went up against him with his Recovery Gold deck he played in Last Chance Qualifier. Big shout out to Kyle and Cody for taking Recovery Gold to the LCQ and finishing 6th and 9th respectively.
Yeah, pretty good.
Very close to getting into the tops. So Shane does not.
6th is literally on the bubble, right?
Yeah.
It's top 5.
Shane does not throw a single attack until his last turn. He just keeps building. So Cody also being a 5-hander, Recovery Gold, build, and then Shane goes Zeru's Flame, and Cody goes okay, and then enhance commit, stun commit 2, enhance commit, gets him down to basically a body rejuvenation. His entire board of 14 foundations got committed, and then went Knife Edge Deathmatch. It's like, oh.
Okay.
So basically, Cody was in a position where he needed to check a 5 or lose. Checks the 3, and Shane wins off launching 2 attacks.
Nice.
It was like, Cody was very salty. I was like, how can I can take no damage all game and still lose off 1 attack. That is the power of Knife Edge Deathmatch.
Yeah. GG's. And yeah, I heard there was a little bit of a mix-up with that gunslinging, and that I think it might have been Shane had left the SRs in his deck before they'd been revealed, and had to quickly.
I didn't know about that one. I played on. I only did my gunslinging on the Thursday against Kurbara and on the Sunday against Kerma. But I watched a couple of us. I won 2 cases of red vines, which Robin absolutely hates. So
they're definitely an acquired taste.
They are acquired taste. We had Chinese New Year yesterday. It is the year of Ryuku, the year of the dragon, which my little boy was really, really happy to have. But Yeah, I had a absolute great time out there. The 6 a.m. flight wasn't great. I'm loving this shirt. This shirt is so nice design wise.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I guess obviously, if you go check out our YouTube channel, we've got a little vlog there from Brett up on there from that.
I didn't record as much as I
cool.
wanted to, but I did record a fair bit. As Matt says, the shirts are really good.
I thought obviously they were a little garish last time, but they're pretty sweet. Just to come home with that shirt.
So in terms of entertainment on the party bus this year, we didn't have our resident DJ giving us all the songs we could sing along to. Philip was outright demanding proclaimers so he could sing along like he did last year, but we didn't have Richard DJing and giving us all the songs we could sing along to. What we had instead was Levi pole dancing the entire time.
Yeah, so because obviously last year we had like the tour, right, of Vegas. So did you have a tour of Orlando as part of that party bus, or was it just a drive round?
No, yeah, we had. So basically, we jumped on the bus at 7. We drove around. We stopped at a 7-Eleven, picked up some booze. I quickly uploaded a video of Levi pole dancing to YouTube Shorts. Put it up there, which everyone loved. And then we jumped back on the bus and went to Fogo Chao. Got a lovely picture of Matt, Phil, and George here. George covered up by his dancing.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to the meal, pretty much the same as last year. We didn't get the Wagyu beef, which is a bit of a disappointment, but Lohan did buy us all shots of tequila, which is, peak. We sit down, we go to the salad bar, we come back, and the meat train starts. And me, Philip, and JP, even after people quit, are still demanding more meat. Grant, bless his little heart, tapped out quite early. He got the meat
sweats.
Did
anyone do a Greg and make themselves ill?
He didn't. I think he stopped at the right time. As Matt says, it was very. Matt? Do you want to come join us?
Yeah, I mean, you're more than welcome.
I can pull you in to come join the chat if you want, Matt. But yeah, Kyle got a little bit too drunk. I think JP was basically insisting he cuts off and doesn't get a drink anymore. There's a video of I caught the end of Lohan's speech where during it all.
It's always a good thing. One of the obviously you get to go compete in the HLC and get all the stuff, but the sort of peripheral bits, right? So things like the party bus and having this meal where you get to meet the UVS Games team, was always a really cool part of that experience. So
I caught an epic clash of Jiro versus Jiro 2 with Jose and his One with Nature match. This is during the HLC. There was 2 people on Jiro 2, which was William Goodry and Jose Nerono, and I think people underestimated Jiro 2. I went in there with the mindset of I just need to outpace him in speed. Jose, it was a case of you needed to remember you're playing against Jose. No matter how good your matchup was into it, you need to remember you're not playing against Jiro, you're playing against Jose, arguably the best player in the game. Despite Nicholas Reagan walking away with the World Championship, Jose's still up there as a contender for the best player.
Yeah. There's obviously a few people you could put in that conversation, but I think right now Mr. Reagan has the bragging rights, right?
Yes.
He is undisputed the best player, and was on the hottest of hot streaks that weekend.
Oh, I mean, coming in from an LCQ as well, not even being one of the invited players.
Yeah, exactly. He went huge. Undefeated all weekend. He cleaned. I think he went undefeated in the LCQ and then undefeated through the HLC.
Because he ID'd the last round.
Yeah, you need obviously a little bit of luck for that sort of stuff, but also you cannot do that without skill. And obviously Nick's put up results before. It is Nick that came over that has, I think, got a family in the UK, right? So he's sort of an honorary UK guy.
He came over for the May RLE, the one that you didn't take part in. and got top
and
8 with
tops
Endeavour
Endeavour
2.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a bit of an Endeavour stan, obviously.
And as Nick said in Discord, he now just gets to play whatever he wants for the next year because he's guaranteed back at the HLC. He was talking about bringing 100 foundation deck and just seeing how long it takes his opponent to click on. He has no attacks.
Yeah, I mean, like, I still think probably Kevin should have been invited this year, but obviously they hadn't put that up front, so like,
Fair,
what it is. But
fair play to Kevin. I talked to him a couple of times, got a hug off him when he found out what I was playing in Retro. He lost round 1 of the LCQs and then dropped, and then just got on doing with some coding. He chatted to like a lot of the people there, and fair play to him. He was really, really cordial about it. He was. He had a great weekend. From what I can tell,
and he's got cards with his face on it. He doesn't need more. So
he got cards in his face. He got a lot of money from it, and as a lot of people whose first time it was at the HLC, the social aspect was great. I mean, as much as I'd have loved to be still playing day 2, being able to sit there and chat with friends, catch up with people playing Retro, that was just as good for me. Yes, I'd have loved to walk away with a Dabby top 16 Chrome, but getting to sit there and catch up with... I saw William briefly, getting to catch up with Jacob, getting to catch up with Chris Smith, with Melanie, getting to see Levi and Guile and Jelly, getting to see Jeremy and the other design team again, and just having a chat. Getting to have a decent chat with Zena Robinson was great. It was a great reason for me to get burnt out of the game. I had a great chat with him. It was so cool. But
and I mean, obviously that's part of it that doesn't really come across as a viewer back home. One of us scrubs. And obviously, I can go through how it was looking from the outside in, right?
Yeah.
So coverage was great, and like it looked like a good event. And I think double elimination was a cool format. My complaint about it I do have 2 complaints. One is I'd have loved better graphics in terms of the how the breakdown was going. So people because quite often it was like there'll be a match on stream and half the people wouldn't know what they were playing for or where they were. So like someone being in charge of like updating that bracket and showing it, putting it, whether that's on Discord or having whether the casters could have explained it more. Just having those updates on like their Facebook, on their socials would have been, I think, really useful. Just keeping tabs so people could follow people along. Especially people, and maybe they're rooting for specific players. Maybe us wanting to know how you were doing. Like, I had no idea. Like, yes, you couldn't go and look at sort of results in the app, but that isn't really clear how that bracket was
the main issue with that was the brackets were being done by hand in the main room, and the casters were locked in a separate room. And the judges were kind of needed out. And when it came to the graphics of the matchups, I believe that was being done by Silver out on the main floor. So it was very hard for everyone to fully communicate everything that was going on.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that's just a learning from next year. Just from, like I say, from someone it probably works fine for everyone in the room, but for looking on, like half the questions I had, probably most of the questions I had, on our little local My Hero group chat and things like that, is how people are doing. What are these guys playing for? What round is it? Where are we? No one really knew, and I think. Double elimination was I think a reasonable format to get. Obviously, it's going to change next year with 64 players, whatever but I think some sort of better information as to how that tournament's doing, when people wanted to know how you're doing, for example, or Matt, or how all the other UK players are doing, or see how Jose is doing. Just being able to see that somewhere on whether that's socials.
Yeah, you couldn't even. You couldn't even follow it on the play.uvs because...
No, you could to an extent, right? You could probably, crib together something, which I think I saw some sort of handwritten drawing that I think Tim had put together.
Yes.
To try and work it out. But, I think having something in place previous to that of someone just having that as they've got a template, they put the results in, the names in, and then publish it after every round would have been very useful. The only other complaint I would have had is, and this is something obviously I've talked about before. I know it's untimed rounds, but untimed rounds doesn't mean you're allowed to slow play. And I think there were obviously some grindy matchups, and there were some of them where the players obviously very tired and very like mentally and physically exhausted after a long day and stuff, right? But you don't need to check graveyards like 10 times. And I think, yes, it's untimed, but that doesn't mean you're allowed to slow play. You still need to play at a good pace of play. And I think the judges could have been a bit more. So hurry this along, guys, right? Yes, you can be a little bit longer in terms of mathing out and being certain, but that doesn't mean you're allowed to slow play. And I think there was quite a lot of like those games where they were going like very, very long, and they just didn't need to be quite as long as that.
I mean, so I'll get onto my good points later, but yeah, Young, who was doing a lot of what some people call slow play, before every single game would say to his opponent, I'm going to apologise now, I'm going to need to read all of your cards, because this isn't his main game. I've played against Young a lot, I've played against Adrian, who we had on the stream, who's his partner, and they are really good players. I was so happy to get to play against him in HLC, as well as seeing how well he went.
Sorry, I was talking over you there.
I was so happy to play against him, despite how one-sided our game actually was, because my deck just decided not to work. And then I was so happy to see him get to the finals, and I really am so glad to see someone who started playing this game this year. I've played a lot of games with that. I've spoken to them and their partner a lot. Do so well. I love Nick, but I'm so happy that Young made it to the finals.
Yeah, no, it's like much kudos to him. And honestly, I didn't watch the finals because I think it was just a bit too late for me at that point.
Oh yeah, it was like 3:00 in the morning for you guys.
Yeah, but I watched most of like the losers bracket finals, which was Young versus I don't remember
another
the name
overhaul.
Yeah, it was the Kicks overhaul, right? Which was sweet deck. But you could tell watching it that Young was knackered, right? You could sort of tell the exhaustion, and that's fair play. But I think, in order to try and have these untimed rounds not be so long, I think the judges just need to be a little tighter on the slow play, right? And I think it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine. I think you can be considered, and there are certainly points in the match where you need to maybe take an extra minute to math things out and make that decision. But mostly, you can just hurry up your play, and untimed rounds is not an excuse to play slowly. But,
so I'll quickly get into my one good thing and one bad thing I wanted to put in. Then I'll get into what I think is going to happen with untimed rounds after this. So part of why it was so hard to track us during the weekend is once your pairing was ready, you fired. They weren't waiting for the rounds to end. So after I played against William, I sat around for about 2.5 hours waiting for Young and Corey to finish. They didn't finish till about 20-2. And by that point, some of the round 2 games had already finished. I think Zane and Brandon were being told to just go away and come back in a little bit because they didn't want to start round 3 yet. Which was really, really cool. Yeah. So basically, me and Philip were waiting to see who we were going to go up against next. I ended up going against Young. Love the guy. We know that matchup's supposed to be a lot closer, but my deck just gave me nothing, and he absolutely rinsed me in about 20 minutes. But so big shout out to you guys for managing it like that. It would have made making the brackets a lot harder and more susceptible to human error, but Tim was on the ball, and it does look like everything was done correctly. My biggest regret from it is something someone pointed out to me after the event, and it's there should have been prizing for each bracket. So instead of 32, 16, 8 and 4, it should have been 32, 24, 16, 12, 8, 4, 2, 1.
Yeah, I guess so, because it's like that because it's not a straight knockout, right? It's a double elim, so like there's gradients within that 16, within those brackets. So that makes sense, but
so yeah,
it is.
Players like myself and Matt who went 1 and 2 we're immediately just thrown into the same bracket, although the higher end of it, as the 0-2s. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to the people that went 0-2, you're still part of the top 32 of the world. It's absolutely amazing. It would have just been
exactly.
it would have just been great to be like, here's a challenger deck, here's an extra mat, here's another deck box, here's something extra for getting that one win at Worlds.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, I don't know how they would have done it, but like, it is what it is, and I think it was an improvement over last year in terms of like how it went. So, and I think with all of these things, like UVS games are learning and iterating and getting things better, and there's always going to be ups and downs, right? And I think it's still a positive that things are getting better.
Going back to what you're saying about untimed rounds, I think it is something they're addressing, because when we got our email about the HLC, they wanted day one to wrap up the winners bracket, and it ended up with Nick and Yu Young having to play their game straight away on Sunday to finish up the winners bracket. So I wouldn't be surprised if later, at some point during this year, top cuts is changed to, rather being untimed rounds, to being 90 minutes or 120 minutes for top cuts, and we see like some new tiebreakers coming in instead.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a dangerous game to play. If it comes down to like the life totals thing or sudden death or something along those lines, like, I think they have to be very careful about how they break that tie.
Oh, definitely. But
I'm not against it, but I think they have to be very careful with it. Right? And I think, obviously you get an hour usually. I think upping that to maybe 90 minutes or 2 hours, 90 minutes. Ultimately 60 minutes should be enough for you to finish a round.
60, I mean, 2 hours should be enough, and if you're 1-0 in at 2 hours, you just go, call it. You get it 1-0.
Yeah.
If you're 1-1, you go, okay, play out the third game, but we're going to be making sure you play at a fast pace.
Yeah, they need to put thought and consideration.
What they don't need is the MMM rules of whoever lost the most life loses.
Well, again, there's various ways you can break that tie, and they're going to need to be careful about how they do that if that's the decision, right?
I think untimed rounds.
Honestly, they could. Part of it would be just the judge staff saying you need to not play so bloody slowly.
Yeah, I think untimed rounds does need to kind of go.
I don't know. We'll see. I think people just need to get a bit better at it. But
that's fair.
Obviously, as a big stan of Kicks, the Kicks package, I was a big fan of Nick's deck, and also like the overhaul that was playing it. I was really happy as like the final hurrah of set one, almost, that the Kicks packages came out on top. Oops, sorry, looks like we got some child aggro here, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we always know you've been a big fan of the Kicks package.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not Earth character, right? Nick was playing on Order.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So we had Young on the hardened maximum overhaul package. He was playing Jab, Frenzy, Chop.
So more traditional sort of overhaul, right?
Along with Seasonal Advantage, which was a big thing because it was able to... it's something people had kind of forgotten existed.
Yeah, it's weird actually, like the cycle of seizing, right? And many people, like probably the one that comes to mind would be like Andrew Holder, who said back when it was a case of seizing seizing should be banned right now. The format isn't ready for seizing, and right now is the format where seizing is totally fine. It's a fair and reasonable and powerful card you can play, but isn't something you always play. Back then, in like the set 3 format, was too good. Now, totally fine.
I'll tell you the action that won the day. The action that won the HLC for most players. Runaway.
Yeah, Runaway is a banger.
Card.
And obviously that was part of your thing of opening up 17 bajillion class reunions, trying to dig for a fourth one.
Luke dropped a good $200 in all of Legendary Wolf Games stock, trying to get the other 3 he needed, and he got it in the second half of like the $200. I believe Nick was running them to counter overhaul. Daniel.
I think he said he was just any time he was on the draw, he brought them in.
Daniel Nelson brought them in against me, and because of Runaway, he only went to 1 because he had 3 struggling with studies down, so he just went boom, 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 boom. Runaway is a card I'd completely overlooked because no one was playing it, and then at the HLC, everyone on those symbols
of those cards, right? That haven't really had a place in the sun and probably deserve to be more. Like one that were brought up, I think, the other day was the Eda one that just says end this enhanced step or whatever it was.
Fulfill my duty, yeah. No, fulfill my duty is great.
It just hasn't really seen as much play as it probably should have done, right? And I think maybe we'll do this maybe like in a week or 2 or something. We'll go through a set 1 in retrospective and have a look back or something. But
since we're talking about set 1 in retrospective, we have got Let's Talk UVS, who next Saturday the 17th, are doing a farewell to set 1 tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so basically the last event of set 1. No Yu Hakusho cards if anyone managed to get hold of them. It's just all MHA. And the main thing is you have to use one of 6 characters that are from set 1 who has never topped an event. So Minato 1, Ojiro, Shoji, Mount Lady 1, Asui 2, or Present Mike 1.
Oh lordy!
As far as David could surmise,
one.
As far as David could surmise, none of these had topped major events. I know Owen has come very close multiple times with Asui 2 in the UK. I think he was like 1 or 2 wins away from our first Nats.
It's either Mineta or Ojiro. The others are basically unplayable.
No, Asui's actually really playable.
I mean, Mount Lady isn't. Present Mike isn't. I don't think Shoji's not good. I think you play Ojiro.
So Mount Lady now has Titan Cliff, which lets you build in another Mount Lady.
Yeah.
Present Mike has got things like Manifest and Runaway and ways to clog your catapult and mill you out. Shoji's still not great. Asui 2 is quite playable, especially with the life updates, because you're kind of forced in the blocks. Ojiro 1 with the speed. Charlie was not Charlie. Luca was playing Ojiro 1 at our Nats, and he almost beat my Midnight deck. Being able to just go reciprocal burst, its speed can't be reduced, +1 speed for all your face down, all my face down foundations. Boom, let's go.
Yeah, the other one you can play is was it Charge Shield Breaker or something like the 2 check.
Yeah, Charge Shield Breaker. But for me, it would be. I would probably be behind Minato 1 because you can play on order, so you get Jolt, 1.3, Vile Seizing, and you just burn your life to commit your opponent down while blocking and breaking them to death. And then you've got that commit, reduce, make its speed back to printed. It can't get speed bonuses. The first character I ever played in this game was Minato 1. I wanted to learn the game, and I asked people. Basically, when I was joining, I asked, "What's the worst character at the moment?" And people went Minato 1. I went, "Cool. I'll learn by playing Minato 1 because I'll get beat down. I'll learn through losing, and every victory will be through pure skill. It won't be because I played a broken character."
Oh, my first character was Asui 1.
There you go.
I beat out my child with Asui 1.
Two different playstyles here. I'll play the worst character, and you'll play arguably the best character.
I mean, back then, probably set 1 only with lashing and stuff and tongue whips, and it's probably too good.
Yeah, so it's going to happen on the Let's Talk UVS Discord. It's on Saturday at 10 a.m. I assume that's EST. First place will get a box of Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament ordered from Rochester, along with the University's deck box that I believe Kyle sold his at the event for $120.
Yeah, they look sweet, and I heard a lot of good feedback about them. Obviously, you didn't manage to steal me one, which obviously
I didn't win any side events. I didn't top one any side events.
Well, sounds like a skill issue to me.
Yeah, Really, really cool.
Yeah, they look nice.
Yeah, they're really, really, really nice. But yes, it was actually a skill issue. That's the problem. I got kenned in the face by Miles Tyler. Yeah. Second place will get one of each of the Critical Role decks, which come out on March 21st. Yes. It's 4-round single elimination, so it's not going to take too long. If you lose, your best of 3 you're out. You must play set 1, and it'll be taking place on TTS rather than webcam. So you'll have access to anything you need. So Falling Skies, Repeated Smash, Rejuvenatings, anything like that you need that are quite hard to get hold of, you'll be able to just play them and have as much of a chance as everybody else.
Yeah, so obviously, I guess, obviously it's not a sanctioned event, right? They can't run it through You've Play.uvs games, right?
It's been run through Play.uvs.
I'd be iffy whether UVS games would be happy about running official events through Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah,
there's sort of legality issues there, and also it's a format, a specialty format, which usually you need you need that prior.
I mean, I think at a local level you're fine. Is if you're trying to run like a Star Championship for it.
No, I think if you're sanctioning the event, i.e., you're running it through the app, then you need permission to do so. So, maybe wants to check it out with.
Join us next week when we find out that we've accidentally got the event shut down by Guile.
Well, it's not like obviously. Nah. I'm assuming it's been advertised, so I'm assuming if UVS games have noticed an issue, that they will reach out to him. So that's fine.
Exactly.
But yeah, like HLC was cool. Obviously, still big congratulations to you for getting there, and commiserations for not getting further. But obviously, it was a hard event, and
so this is something.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll let you finish.
To honorary UK guy Nick Reagan for winning it all with some of my favourite cards. Reciprocal Extend, Burst, Acceleration Kick, love them. So again, I think it's a package that's been criminally underused. I think it's just so very good. And just great to see that they went out on a big hurrah at the end of set 1.
Oh, definitely. And I think the mental attitude I went out with really helped with how I finished. I went out with more of I'm going out there for the social aspect, to see friends I haven't seen in a year. If I do well, I do well. If I don't, I don't. And unlike last year, where when I lost in round 1 against JJ last year, I kind of just shut off and I went back to my room for a couple of hours to get myself together.
Yeah,
I was in a much better place because I hadn't put too much pressure on myself. I wasn't expecting to do well. I just wanted to have fun, and I did.
I think that's just a healthy approach to it in general. Yes, absolutely be competitive, absolutely be invested in this stuff, but be disappointed when you lose. But I think it's sort of tempering that, right? And I think that's just a healthy way of looking at it.
It's a video I probably do. I do want to do a scripted one of mental attitude going into events, because there were players at the HLC who, I don't want to say went in with the wrong mental attitude, but when they lost, they kind of stormed out. They didn't want to GG or be friendly over games. Basically, they got very salty very quickly, and it's something that was pointed out to me earlier this year that I can do in the game. It's something I've tried to correct, because I'm not saying you have to be cordial in loss, but losses happen, and even at the world stage, your deck can just say you don't get to win this match, but there's always the next one. Yeah.
But the game fundamentally has variance, so you just need to accept that variance sometimes happens. That's it.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if you got Neuronode in the face, if Jiro did Jiro things, if your deck just said no. It's part
sometimes you check a 3.
Yep.
Is what it is.
Exactly. Big shout out to actually JJ, who was playing, I don't want to say the meme of a deck, but was playing a deck that probably no one had anticipated. It went through LCQs. It went undefeated at LCQs, and it's Camry 1 damage reduction.
Yeah, I heard that was a thing. Was it you said Camry 1 or was it Camry? I thought it might have been Camry 2.
No, it was Camry 1. So basically,
Okay.
I got to see his game versus Kyle Blunt on stream while I was waiting for my game to finish, and JJ was in deadlock, and Kyle goes Val seizing and goes deadlock enhance. JJ's like, yeah, sure, don't worry about it. And then he goes Val seizing again. He goes deadlock enhance. Yeah, I don't care. And it's like, people are like, what's going on? It's like, it doesn't matter that he has -4 to his checks, because all of Kyle's attacks have got like -5 damage to them. He doesn't need to block.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not making any checks anyway.
Yeah, it's like, I don't need to check to block this because your attacks are doing literal nothing to me. It's like, that is such a disgusting deck. I love it.
Yeah, and we're definitely not getting a lot of damage reduction cards coming in your Hakusho or anything.
Oh, yeah, but luckily, Camry 1 has rotated by that point.
Yeah. But obviously, as you can see on screen, they're the secrets. They all, I mean, ignoring the text on the card, these all look sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know how they compare to the normal SRs. Because obviously these have got the kanji, so these are the XSRs.
These look absolutely amazing. The chromes look so good. I got a message from Klaxo right away talking about how they went pink for Kurama. On the Sunday,
I mean, obviously, I think Mr. Smith is also after a Kurama.
Oh, definitely. Let's backtrack back to LCQs because 2 of the UK boys did fly out to take part in LCQs. Big shout out to Greg Moss and Mike Hardiman, who arrived the day before the rest of us. And a big shout out to Brandon and Zane of Oceanic, who arrived on the Monday and immediately went to a gun range to fire guns. Actually, do. But yeah, Greg was playing Coda, and I have forgotten who Mike decided to play. Oh, I remember. I think it was Mirio.
Okay.
But I only remember because Mike was just saying he should have played Coda because when he was playing Coda, he went undefeated in any event he took part in. Unfortunately, they didn't get through to the main event, but they got to catch up with everyone there. It was absolutely great having those guys out there. Mike ended up buying a Dueling Guard Ichigo deck box, which was black with red foiling, and it looked so good. When I got back, I immediately went on their website and pre-ordered the Berserk Guts deck box. So after a week in America, I came back and immediately spent like £100 on a deck box and a folder.
Fair.
But yeah, absolutely great. We did some drafting as well. Sunday we started off with retro. I quickly rebuilt my Vega from Nats and ran out and begged Sean O'Brien for 3 Maze Castles, which I got to do. I got beat down by Miles Taylor. I got beat down by the Dark One. I managed to take games from Akuma, which was really cool. I really do enjoy retro. I'm working on a Dabby 1 retro deck. And I was close to prizing. If I hadn't got kenned in the face because all his attacks came from my life total, it would have been really cool. Zane was playing Zolt, who under the new multiple rules is a very dangerous deck to play because Zolt lets you discard cards from the top of your deck to pay for multiple. And under the new multiple rule, you then take the top cards of your deck to play the multiple attacks. So if he multiples 4, he loses 8 cards off the top of his deck. Which that was a little bit terrifying, but he went 2-2 like me, I believe. Then we had teams where we had JP, Mike, and Greg team up. I think Kyle, Cody, and Philip teamed up. There was a fair amount of teams, and they did really well. Unfortunately, I went to get food, and I came back, and the teams already started, so I didn't get to take part, but I got to watch.
Yeah, I've got beef with teams.
But while everyone was playing teams, I went and stole a LCQ t-shirt for myself, and then I stole an LCQ t-shirt. I say stole, I just begged Guile and go, yeah, take one. Then can I take one for Richard as well? He went, go on then.
Yes, much thanks for that. Yeah, my beef with teams is they keep doing it as best of one. Why? This is terrible. It's terrible. Don't do best of one.
Most of the so I think it's mainly best of one because you're playing 3 games, but it's also.
No.
I mean, the draft we did was best of one. A lot of the on-demand side events were best of one.
I mean, I guess maybe so they can get them through and fired quickly, but like if you're gonna have a proper event, like because of how like the dice roll can affect things, right? Just. Like, yeah, don't do best of ones.
No.
It's not a good idea. I don't think they're fun. I think if you want to have this proper event, I mean, like, I think for like just little kind of 8-man pods, let's play some standard and, winner gets some things or whatever. Sure, do them as best of one, right? But for teams is like a sacred thing, right? People love teams. Don't ruin it by making it best of one. Like make it a thing.
I would love to see like the retro worlds and the team world come back where you get the asset and the action cards you can make as well. I'd love to see those guys come back. Triple Threat was going around and there was some really cool. So Jacob Rousseau was giving away a T-shirt to the coolest kill. There was a fight out for the finals. Nicholas Reagan, who had won his game against Uyung, had like 6 to 7 hours to kill. He just sat playing Triple Threat.
Yeah.
There was
who went all the way with the belt. I mean, that's the important thing. Who got the belt?
I can't remember who got the belt. I'm sure someone will mention there. But all I know is how the belt. So there's 2 stories from the HLC which were being passed around because they're hilarious. One is Phil Birch and one is Miles Tyler. So, during Triple Threat, it is the deciding match to see who gets the belt. And the 3 players are sat down. Miles Tyler is close to death. His opponent plays the attack, targets Miles. Miles knows he's going to die and just goes, I scoop. And the judge he goes, you can't do that. The judge goes, yeah, you can. You can scoop before you launch a lethal attack. It's like, oh. Okay, so the attack just fizzles because it's got no target now because they're no longer engaged. And the third person just basically goes, okay, cool, you overcommitted because you thought you were going to win by killing Miles, and I kill you. And it was just the greatest thing of, yeah, screw you, I'm going home, picks up his cards and just leaves.
Okay. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think if you concede during someone else's turn, then that player counts as getting the kill.
But that is not in the rules because I went over those rules looking for stuff.
And it may not be in the rules. It should be in the rules.
I imagine Broberg will update it to those being in the rules. If you concede, the player you're engaged with gets the win, sort of thing.
Like if you concede during another player's turn, that player gets the kill.
Yeah, and the other one was during the HLC. I think if you're watching the stream, you've seen Phil Birch playing Mina 2 on the stream.
No. So I caught most of the stuff on Sunday, Saturday. A friend came down for his birthday. So he spent most of the day sort of gaming in the local game store and actually taught him and his kid how to play Universes. And they loved it and immediately bought Mario Starter Deck and I think they're sort of getting into it because he's sort of he's about honestly I should remember how old he is. He's sort of between 7 and 9. I'm gonna say I think he's like 7 or 8 years old.
So he's just on the cusp of getting into it.
Yeah, but he's well clever. He wanted to play me at Pokemon, so he had his Pokemon decks. So we played. He sort of vaguely taught me how to play Pokemon and obviously smashed my face in.
But yeah, while I've got it fresh in my head, so on stream, Phil Birch is going for his kill turn. He plays Price for Peace on stream, draws his 6 cards and whiffs and loses on stream.
Mm-hmm.
Goes down to losers bracket where he comes across Carson and his 140 card Shoto 1 deck.
Yeah.
And I'm sat across from him because my game finishes quite quickly, and Young and Corey take forever. So I'm just watching other people's games. Brandon smashing people's Endeavour 3 as well. And Nick and Brandon actually faced off in round 2, I believe. But it was Endeavour versus Endeavour. But, so you got 140 card Shoto with no sleeve sideboard against Mina 2 Phil Birch, who is on the record as saying, if I were not facing a new person or an international player, I'm not showing up for round 1. They play game 1, Carson wins, then Carson sides, so takes like 5-6 cards out, unsleeves them, puts them back in, shuffles his massive deck, draws up, Phil shuffles, draws his hand, and then Phil goes, Foundation, Price for Peace, I lose? And it's like, oh, here is just I'm really glad I made you shuffle and sideboard for that game. I'm like, oh, Phil, that is, no one commits suicide at the World Championship. He is just built different.
Yeah, that's certainly a way of putting it.
I really wish I'd been recording everything, because when Grant Padley saw Phil Birch and when he saw Chris Smith for like the first time in like 6 years, it was the most adorable thing. He like ran over and immediately hugged them. It was absolutely adorable. On the Sunday, we got me and Matt and a few of us were chilling out near the hot tub while Chris Smith and Grant went to Miller's, and I think Liam and Mike went to join them. We didn't get invited, or maybe we did and we just didn't pay attention enough. Because Miller's had great hot wings. Honestly, I've already spoken to Robin. Even if I don't qualify, and I know there's no last chance qualifiers, I might try and go back out next year just for the social aspect. I spent $300 all weekend because all my breakfasts were Denny's unlimited pancakes. $7 for unlimited pancakes. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I imagine Florida's not quite as expensive as Vegas in general for like food and stuff.
There's also nowhere near as much to do.
Yeah.
We went to a bar called King's with Will Taylor and a few other people. We had
shout out Will.
Yeah.
On your video, me and him are aligned on how the whole draft thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, Will was making some very good points. Tyler was making some very good points. There was a lot of stuff going on. They were being quite positive and quite constructive as well. There was a couple of people there that just wanted to complain and pretty much complained about making up the same points the entire weekend, but were offering nothing constructive. They just wanted to complain about the game and the company. But they don't get shouts out, so we're being positive here. Drafting halfway through an event does seem kind of weird.
We've trod that ground, right?
See, because I was thinking it was either going to be all Swiss or all draft. I was completely confused by that. I did not realize it was going to be for us if we had 7 rounds, 4 rounds of constructed, 3 rounds of draft, then move on to top cut of constructed. I thought it was just 7 rounds of draft.
No.
To me, that seems absolutely insane that you'd go through 4 rounds of intense constructed, then go, here, draft these 6 packs.
Anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, moving on from that. If you want to hear what Will was saying, you can check out his content as well. And also, during my 20-minute video, there's a nice long rant that they're going on in Kings. But overall, people walked away with a positive experience from the HLC because the community is great, and everyone walked away with more red vibes.
A great event, right?
Well, it was absolutely amazing. It was, like I said, there's still. I think, I don't know if it was in the video, but the best way I've heard it worded is Lohan and Paul are new card game developers in an old game. So they're looking at everything that's coming up as Growing Pains as a new game, but Universes is an old game, which is why new players like ourselves are not feeling it as much as the old heads, because we're in the same boat as, oh, it's just Growing Pains for a new game, whereas the old heads who have been playing for 18 years, no, this is all stuff we've already gone through once, we don't want to go through it again.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I think with everything they are learning and they are improving
Yeah.
and things are getting better. Like I think, no matter what your complaints or reservations or whatever you are, I think if you look at things and say things aren't improving, then you're just sort of you're being deliberately obtuse about it.
Yeah.
Like yes, there are things that could be better. There are always things
Yes.
to be better. I mean, even look at like your Wizards of the Coast or Bandai's or whoever the hell publishes the other games like Pokemon. Like I'm sure they've got all their issues as well. So like yeah, is what it is.
Every company makes poor decisions, and UVS have made a few, but they've also made some very good decisions, as with one of their most recent ones, which we'll go to in a little bit. But you were talking about the SRs versus XSRs. On screen now we have the current SRs, and
Yeah.
I mean, Power of Yokai is just delicious.
Yeah, I mean, they all look really cool. Like, I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to decide whether Genkai's guidance is balanced or messed up, and I lean towards it possibly being
Why
messed
not
up.
both?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, it's a high cost, but using an attack is very powerful.
yes, and it also
I don't know how good that first form is, right? Like you giving up 2 cards for their one. Sometimes it's going to be like they've got 1 card back for a block. It's like, okay, I've got this spare card, or I can do it. So,
the first form isn't great, but I'll tell you what I do love is the response means that you don't have to fear building to 13.
yes,
If you
yeah,
build up to 13 and your opponent goes, oh cool, I'll play Vile Season, you just got response, Genkai's guidance, blow up 3, I'm now out of deadlock and I got rid of your attack.
yeah, yeah. We'll have to see, and obviously, yeah, it's got the 5 symbols, so really good with Cannon.
Oh, definitely, and I mean, it's got the Bakugo 4 symbols, which cares about cards being discarded as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Void, so you can play your favourite card, Richard.
What?
Unexpected Hero.
Yes.
You get to make them discard a card, commit it, draw a card.
Yes.
Oh, is it? It's flipped for that, isn't it? Yeah. So you can do some dumb stuff with the Void symbols, the air symbols. I'm sure Death, Order, and Chaos can do some great stuff with it. Doesn't synergize with Twisting Gazelle Inferno, which makes me sad.
No, but that's fine.
No, we've got Dark Tournament Looms for that.
Yeah. Yeah, 200 Unleashed is silly big numbers, right?
Yeah, it's a 3/3 that basically just goes. It passes if you got.
Well, it's like an 8/8, right?
Yeah.
And then like just auto blocks itself. Spirit Gun Final is sweet. Like it's just a 10/10, right?
Yes, it basically it's a 10/10 breaker 1.
Well, it's an 8 diff 10/10. He's big numbers, and like that's a bit of a theme for this set, right? It's sort of big numbers.
I'm so glad it hasn't got charged because Deku 5 just plays this for days. If this had charged, Deku 5 would play this for days.
Yes.
Here's my 13/11.
Is sort of unexciting, right? I mean, it just can get big stun, right?
Well, it can get free stun.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, what you've got here is a 7. It's a 7/7. As long as you've lost 3 life.
It's probably the one that feels a little like the least SRE to me, right? That one, like, it feels like that could just be a regular rare, but like maybe I'm underestimating it. Doesn't block itself. It's bad.
It's a low block, which is always great to see.
Yeah.
Power of the Yoko is just no.
Yeah, I mean, again, some of these are almost locked a bit to their characters, right? So that one very much goes along with the character whose name escapes me. He obviously stuffs the carpool and just gets big damage.
It's the fact that you can just chain these, so you can
It's Kurama, right? That's Kurama.
Kurama. Yeah, so you
Yeah,
basically Kurama has the ability your attack you put as the
yeah,
top card of the deck to the card pool. So it's immediately going to be a 5/6 no matter what. But
yes.
much like Coda, he has a lot of actions that allow. He has a lot of foundations that allow his attacks to not count towards progressive. And as you've got here, discard a card from your rival's card pool. Add top card of your deck to your momentum. If the discard had a difficulty of 4 or high, so basically saying your opponent can't block with attacks, this card does not count towards progressive. So what you can do, you can basically the biggest issue
Does
with
Kurama's ability just adds face down, right?
yeah, so it's a dice roll on that one because your opponent can look, but you don't get to look.
Hmm.
But if you pair this with Agile Drop and his UR, you basically go on a 5, add one to your card pool, uh, discard it, I'll add a momentum. You play Agile Drop on a 5, or if you got lucky on a 4, discard 2 cards, pick up his UR. His UR is an echo that basically says if it deals 3 or more damage, build a character from any zone. Which then allows you to just immediately put Kurama's commit ability to just discard an attack on response in play.
Yeah.
Shane,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Kurama, like, I feel like this one's a bit Kurama locked, right?
it definitely is, and I can see other people possibly playing it as well because it does do stuff, but it has got the symbols for stuff like Coda and stuff. But no, this is a really good one. Shane Duckworth was just beating people down with Kurama over the weekend. Spirit Sword Ultimate. Discard one card after your rival plays an ability on their character. Cancel it. That's a response, so that just lets you just go no.
Yeah.
EX2 and commit. One foundation attack gets +2 damage. This enhances playable any number of times. So basically it's the opposite of Kurobawa's on face ability.
Yeah, just it's a sweet. Just your character doesn't do anything this attack.
Yeah, this is really, really good. I'm glad it doesn't share Toga free symbols because that would be an absolute nightmare with this being a weapon. But I think this is a good finisher. It's a fairly balanced SR. You need momentum to make sure that it can't be blocked. And I think its response ability is probably going to be more impactful than it as an actual attack. Being able to cancel any ability that an opponent plays once per turn, once per game.
Yeah, I think Genkai's guidance might be the most messed up.
All Might 7. Yeah, All Might 7 plays Spirit Sword very well.
Power of UK is obviously very good in Carmen, probably not right outside in rails. Like Spirit Gun and 200 are just sort of big numbers, right?
Yeah.
And you can sort of play them in anyone. Darkness Dragon Prowess is just numbers. You can play that sort of in anyone, really. But you need to have someone in like Darkness Dragon. You want to have either a character or foundations that are cutting yourself, right? So your brute strength type effects. But yeah, Genkai's guidance looks sort of like it might be quite messed up.
I'm going to put this image back up because Matt kept shouting at me for throwing ice at the fire. The intrusive thoughts won, and the hot tub was closed because there was a storm coming, and then 10 minutes later the hot tub was back open.
Yeah, I mean that do be Florida, right? Like the weather is a bit changeable there.
Yeah. The last biggest news is a change to older cards being played in future. So
yeah. So Showdown is out of prison.
Yeah, as I said, the biggest part of it is just being able to free block anything.
Mm.
Same with like being able to turn off Suzuki's abilities and stuff with the sword. But yeah, cards like Hacker Extraordinaire, which didn't have a printed block zone, not being able to be played. Showdown having Vitality instead of, was it Vitality?
No, Showdown's got Showdown discards itself for a second ability, right? On the old version.
Yeah, so Showdown says discard itself rather than stay in the card pool. There was cards that said Vitality instead of Health that weren't allowed to be played. So basically, it was the card had to be the exact same mechanically, and now they've just shipped it. They've got rid of that and basically said whatever the newest printing is.
I suppose, and also the newest and legal printing, right? Because things might get errated, right? Yeah. Let's say they decided that, like, Showdown needed a power level errata, and it only committed one viral foundation after you block with it, right? So it'd be whatever the most legal printing is.
It's a great
ultimately,
decision.
Old cards, if they're the same name but slight differences, then you can play with.
There are some examples that are different, like Basic Training, which is an old Mega Man card or around the era, which has got a different cost, different ability entirely.
Yeah.
That one's a little bit different. They put in there.
And they are treated as different cards, right? I mean, Ultimately, you can go and look at the article on UVS Games website, and it sort of goes into more detail. But fundamentally, you just get to play with your cards.
You get to use the Vast Hybrid. You get to use the Dangerous Hybrid XR, which doesn't have a print zone. You can now play that. You can play Hacker Extraordinaire. You can play the old copies of Three-Eyed Hihei and Showdown.
Yeah. And like just a simple one within, there was always the issue within My Hero itself, right? Of creepy realization of the XR having a different block zone. So It's just one of those things to bear in mind, that especially when you're seeing these odd printings of, don't let your opponents edge you and try and claim the text is one thing when it's actually another. If you're not sure in these situations, as always, call a judge.
Yeah. If in doubt, stick your hand in the air and get a judge to confirm what your opponent is saying.
Yes, like at any point, generally speaking, if you need to look at like the official text of a card rather than what the card actually says on the physical thing in front of you, you can always get a judge to check, and they will generally do that for you. If you're unsure of an errata or, like I said, a printing thing like this. So, if someone plays a Showdown, an old one, and tries to discard it, then you get to call them on it. But, like, again, 99% of players are never going to do that. There's a 1% that might. So just something to be aware of. But it just means you can play old copies of Showdown. You can play old copies of other cards that might have these issues. They are fine. You just need to remember what the current printing is.
Exactly. When Hacker Extraordinaire got spoiled, I did know it was an older card from Cowboy Bebop. And I messaged Guile being like, can I play these? And he was like, no. I was like, why? He's like, no block zones. Like, oh yeah, no block zones. But now you can. You just have to remember in yourself what the block zones are. And luckily, we all have phones. We can all just go onto the UVS website and be like, boom, that's what the block zone is. It's a great way to kill time.
Yeah.
But no, I like this. I like this decision. I think it's a great way to let people play all the cards. It's a great way to introduce people to all the cards. And retro and stuff like that is making a comeback. We just had a webcam weekly, which was retro, which was really, really cool.
I don't know how many people signed up and so forth and how that went, but like hopefully it went well.
I think it'd be really cool. I'd like to see retro coming back a little bit more. I imagine in the as we go down the lines, we'll also see Spotlight come up a little bit more because Spotlight is still a format that needs some support, and there's a lot of MHA fans out there. I might get like Challenger characters only and stuff like that. It opens up to a more diverse kind of format area.
I mean, I can see maybe the season with Girl Power, like the release of that. I could see that competitive season being an MHA Spotlight season. possibly.
Yes, yeah, I could see Spotlight come up for that, and I am still trying to convince the DMS guys to head out to Spain for the Girl Power Hourly.
Oh yeah, that's over in Spain, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been held in Spain. It's the first. It's the first week after the end of term, so it's going to be expensive as hell. But
Yeah.
I just want to grab a big villa with a few people and try and make it as cheap as possible. But while we're out there was people like Andrew Holder and a few other Americans who had been like, Spain is the one everyone's got their target on. It is the one that most people are not going to be willing to travel to, and it's going to have arguably the least experienced players in there. So everyone's kind of highlighted that as the easiest
It
event.
might also have like the smallest attendance, right? Hopefully
Yeah.
it doesn't. Hopefully, a lot of our continental brethren sort of make their way down there and show out, and that'll be great.
I think inadvertently, because everyone's identified it as the weakest RLE of the year, it'll be the strongest because everyone's going to go.
Quite possibly. Obviously, we still don't know whether qualification gets you like travel and stuff. We don't know where we're at, but obviously we'll hear from that in good time, I guess, from EVS.
They haven't said it doesn't, and so I am under the basically when I asked Jelly last year, when it came to Nats if everyone was still included, I was I was treated to the quote, "If you haven't been told differently, assume it's the same." So that's where I'm going to go. Until we're told flights and hotels aren't included, I'm assuming that all 64 people will be flown out there and put up in a hotel. It's going to be fairly expensive for them to do, but
it's mostly like 64 now, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's cheaper than $125,000 price.
In theory, yeah.
And it's definitely something that has needed to be done. I think it's really cool they're opening it up and that we're going to get a lot more representation. Because, I mean, Oceanic's gone from 4 seats to, like, 16 seats.
I'm just glad that our release have something riding on them now, right? That they have true gravitas. Like, winning them means a big deal, right?
Yeah, they've always had a big deal behind them. And I am a bit disappointed that you have to actually qualify to get into RLEs. I think that's a gate that didn't need to be kept. But at the same time, the fact that there's a world seat on there now is really cool. And
yes.
It's something people are asking for.
Well, hey, look, if you need those qualifying points, I believe Gary has put up the events on the app for the local qualifiers for down here. So
I'll double check because after all my complaining, after all my bitching to UVS, the Southampton local playgroup have been given star qualifiers, even though they're not technically a star.
Right.
I don't know how it's happened. I'm thankful it has happened, so I can go down to Southampton. But weirdly, they're on Mondays during the day, so we might not actually get enough players for them to count.
Yeah.
I think the first one's like Monday the 4th of March at 11:45 in the day.
Yeah, that's an odd one.
So like people like Andrew unfortunately might not be able to take part because they've got work. It's a very weird one, and the second one's on Easter Monday, which is another weird one.
Well, Easter Monday makes sense because it's a bank holiday for most people, right? So, like, at least I can see that one, but just generally being on Mondays is like a weird one.
I found out that my Wish Tournament dreams are dead because the only qualifying event is you on the 25th of February.
Yeah.
And Robin has a hospital appointment on the 25th of February, so I need to prioritise family.
That is fair.
So,
yeah. I was going to say, I think ours is, don't tend to start early. Like, it'll probably be like early to late afternoon. But even that, like, obviously doing hospital stuff and then travel, just,
If I can make it down, I will.
Yeah.
But it all depends on how it goes down, because basically their appointment's like 11 o'clock, so I'd have to jump out and then immediately shoot there. Whereas
Yeah.
my original plan was to just get a cheap hotel and stay over the night before, which is probably what I'd have to do for the qualifiers.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Well, I mean, obviously, let me know and we can try to organise something. But
yeah, so as Disaster Stand playing, 64 people in Worlds, they need to do something about on-time rounds. But I think it's got the Universe's Worlds is going to change dramatically. Actually, I don't think it's going to be double elimination. I think it's going to be day one Swiss draft cutting to top 16.
yeah, ultimately, they're going to 64 players. The format of Worlds will change.
Yeah, I think
announce that near the time. We don't need to necessarily know.
I think it's going to be something like 5 rounds of Swiss, cutting to top 32. 3 or 4 rounds of draft, cutting to top 16.
64 is what? So 8 is 3, 16 is 4, 32 is 5, 6. So it'd be 6 rounds of Swiss to get a proper top cut, right?
Yeah, but if they did 4 rounds of Swiss and then cut to the top 32 there, then did 4 rounds of draft like what they're doing at the RLEs.
No, you could probably just do 6 rounds of Swiss day one, cut to top 8.
But yeah, cutting to top 8's a bit of a dramatic one. But if they say 4 rounds of Swiss, the top half of the players there will then go on to the draft round. We're going to do 4 rounds of draft, and then the top half there will move on to top 16, which will be constructed day 2. And you bring back the rule from the first year of you can change decks between the first part of constructed and the second part of day 2 constructed.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll just have to wait and see near the time what they decide. I think
on-time rounds is Disaster Down is definitely going. I suspect 90 minutes or 120 minutes is going to be the cap.
Yeah. I mean, I think they'll do something. What they do, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, obviously I went through that earlier, Disaster, and completely agree with you that people just need to be a lot tighter on slow play.
We started playing about 10:30, 20 to 11, and Corey and Young were not done in their round 1 game till 20 to 2. So I was sat around, and Philip was sat around for a good 2.5 hours, and Dan Nelson was being like, I had to wait 3 hours for your game. It's like, no, you weren't waiting for me, you were waiting for the round 1 game. Our game was over pretty quickly.
Yeah. But anywho's,
yeah.
I mean, I think that about covers it for this week.
I mean, the only things left to say is that the Dark Tournament's 2 weeks away. I imagine content creators will be dropping box openings some point during this week or next week because products.
I think the 16th is the embargo from Variety for box openings.
Fair enough. So from the 16th.
Yeah. So yeah, content creators will be doing those. Obviously, I'm assuming
from that we then
on socials. So obviously, check out the UBS socials for the guys that are doing it. So yeah, go support all those content creators that are cracking those. If
you are interested, check out the Let's Talk UVS Set 1 farewell. It's going to be really cool to see which of these 6 characters comes out on top. Going to what Disaster. No, I don't think life loss should be a way to do it. I know that in the UVS event in the Let's Talk UVS event that's happening next week, the tiebreakers are the amount of damage dealt, which to me also feels really bad.
There's not a great way of cutting those guys.
No matter what they decide, they're going to get backlash from it, but there has to be on-time rounds in this kind of game where you can sit and turtle for hours needs to stop. Our Nats, me and Luke were sat around for a good 2.5 hours, not being able to get food, not being able to leave, because at any point Liam and was it Matthew or another player's game could have been over, and then we had to jump into our game. We couldn't just, and we were sat there for a good 2.5 hours just waiting for that game to be over because Eraserhead and Overhaul just both sit there waiting for the other one to overextend.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, the MMM rules of percentage of life from total was cool, but I don't think it's as strictly fair to how nuanced this game is. It favours...
There's never going to be one. I think percentage is about as good as it gets. Or the other alternative is sudden death. Next damage gets it. But even that might take too long, right?
I think the ideal way to do it is... Again, it's not ideal, but you go up to the players and you go, what's the score? And if they go, it's 1-1, you go, you finish out this game then. If you go to the next table, you go, what's the score? And you go, it's 1-0, and you go, okay, are you the player down? And they go, no, I'm the player that's 1 up. You go, okay, end your form, you've won. You're 1-0, 2 hours in, you win.
Oh, I know the best way of doing it. Just solve the problem.
What?
I've just solved it.
Go on then.
You literally, right, okay, if you get to the point where it's like, you're tied in games and it's like, right, you've hit the time limit, you now need to end. Both players make a check from the top of the deck, highest check wins. And then you keep going, and if they both flip a 5, you then do the next one. Done.
But does that punish you for running 1 checks?
No, if you get a 1 check, that's an instant win.
Have a judge panel determine the winner like by boxing. I mean, you'd have to have the judge in there. However, I do like the idea of box UVS. So you do like 5 minutes of gameplay, 5 minutes of boxing, 5 minutes of gameplay, and the gameplay gets progressively worse as you take the head injuries.
Yeah. But basically, there's not a good answer. No. It's finding the best of the bad answers. So, yeah. We'll have to see how that gets approached.
Definitely. But so after seeing the HLC, after seeing Nats last year, on-time round is something that needs addressing, and definitely before the Spanish RLE, a judge program needs to be in place. Because unless they're going to fly out the dobbers, I cannot see the Spanish RLE going well if they use Spanish native with English as a second language judges judging this English-only translated game with rules that do not translate into any other games. You don't have the same rule program. You can't use F&B, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic judges to judge universes. We don't have layers. We don't have a stack. We don't have all these things that they're used to equating everything to.
That's not really on UVS though, right? That is on the tournament organizer who is running it.
Yes, but when you have a premium level event, there should be a program in place so you have qualified individuals. It should not be up to Murray to find people that he thinks are qualified to help him judge, or up to Sean, or up to anyone else, even in the UK. It should be UVS should have a program in place where people take exams, where people shadow, where people learn this stuff. And
yeah, I mean, I'd imagine judge program is something on their list, right, of things they want to do.
So
but fundamentally, organising judging for a tournament is on the tournament organizer.
I did speak to Guile about this, and it's something I brought up to him a lot, especially bringing up the Spanish RLE. And what he said to me was, there's a lot of people putting in input, and not a lot of people actually making the program. There's a lot of people that want to have it. There's a lot of chefs, not enough cooks. Everyone's talking about what they want in the program. No one's just actually making the program.
And but if you're going to have an official judge program, that needs to come from the top, right?
Yeah.
That needs to come from UVS Games.
It's something we've needed. It's something that has definitely been on UVS's radar for at least the last year. Because the white belt program wasn't great, but at least it was a program.
I mean, shit, I'm white. I passed the white belt.
Oh, you can chuck a stone in any direction at an event and hit at least 5 white belts.
Yeah.
It was a multiple choice exam that you could just immediately retake. I failed it the first time, then immediately just retook it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, it's just one of those things. Again, I'm assuming it's almost certainly going to be on their to do list, but there's probably 17 bajillion other things on their to do list, right? So
yeah. But it was fine when, not to sound xenophobic or anything like that. It's fine when it was in all English predominant speaking countries with English predominant speaking judges. Now you're going to an international venue with presumably an international TO who's going to use international staff. Me trying to explain,
yeah,
me trying to explain the nuances of struggling with studies, firing on the second attack because I blue flame tormented their second attack that was meant to be played because of the new attack, because of the next attack rule, is going to probably take longer with a judge that has come from another game because they don't understand the stacks and stuff like that. And we're going to get time extensions and all sorts. And you know me, I play really weird decks. It's going to be an issue for me.
Yeah, but that's a you issue, not a them issue. You're going to their country. If you don't speak their language and can't communicate what you want to communicate, that's a you problem, not theirs.
I mean, if UVS printed cards in Spanish, I'd be inclined to agree, but it's an English card game.
Yeah, but you're going to their country, so they speak much better. They speak much better English than you speak Spanish. Therefore, it's a you problem.
Yeah, see, you see. This is true. My Spanish is very limited to what Flynn has taught me from his very limited Peacock Spanish.
Yeah.
But as Dan's saying, and as Daniel is saying, we need a professional judge program. It's something that has been in the works. I think it's just something they need to pull the cord on and be like, okay, it needs to be a priority, but they've got so much other stuff going on as well that it's finding one person who has the time to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not an easy problem to solve, but it's something that I'm sure, like I say, is on their list of things to do.
Yeah.
But
it also, I mean, if you had an official judge program, you'd also have to have official compensation guidelines, which is also a big minefield.
Yeah, as again, it's not so straightforward, right? There's hoops to jump through for it. So it's not an easy problem to answer necessarily.
No, it's not. But with how important RLEs have become, with how important even local qualifiers have become to qualify for RLE, and the fact that all these local championships count for points towards a HLC seat, it's something that needs to be on there. And I think basically, as I said, saying, hi Tony. Tony's great. I think Tony is on their shortlist. Nicholas Reagan would be a great one to also get. He is a rules machine. Getting there, I think over the HLC.
No, just hire Murray.
Murray would be a great one. Kyle and Cody Jakovitz were also mentioned as people that can just go through and rip the rules apart to actually make a program. It's just finding someone who's passionate about the rules, which Tony, Murray, Nick, the Cody and Cal bros really are. They love doing it. I love ripping into the rules, but I prefer trying to find loopholes in the rules rather than teaching people rules.
Yeah, but that's because you're fundamentally a bit of a troll, right?
I am. But that's why I'd also make a very good judge, because I'd also be looking. I can identify my own kind.
Fair. But we've waffled on for an hour and a half. I don't think there's anything else necessarily you wanted to cover this week.
Not particularly. I mean, we've got. I think next week we're going to do. So I want to speak to you next week. Do you want to do 2 tier lists? Constructed Yu Hakusho tier list and then a draft Yu Hakusho tier list, because it's going to be broken up. Because I've seen a couple of people doing it, and I think it's a very good point to make up that people need to be able to look at a character and go, this one's great in draft and this one's great in constructed.
Yeah, I mean, I think the limited side of it's probably more pressing, right? Because people are going to be playing in their release tournaments, which qualify you for the Wish tournaments. People want to know which ones are good ones, right? So, yeah, I think possibly have a sort of limited tier list, and then sort of almost like a release tournament primer type of, we'll
just have a guide to qualifying for the Wish tournament sort of thing.
Yeah, like which characters, which cards, what symbols.
Like... Spoiler alert! I mean, Chris Smith just did a stream yesterday where he ranked all the URs, and I subbed to him to make sure Knife Edge Deathmatch was the top of S class. Because personally, if I was taking part in any of the Wish tournament qualifiers, I'd be drafting Chew, playing Chew and Seal no matter what. Because even if you don't have it, the fact you're playing Chew would make your opponent sit on edge for that Knife Edge Deathmatch.
Yeah.
I believe it's 10 a.m. EST, but check with Let's Talk UVS because they're the ones hosting it.
Yeah, you'll need to check with those guys. We don't know. We're just signaling them, or signal boosting, I guess.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
It basically this announcement went live about 3 hours ago, and I immediately messaged David, just being like, "Boom, jump in." Yeah, it's 10 a.m. It's going to be 4 rounds, so it's not going to take up the entirety of the day. Big shout out to David Toombs, aka Let's Talk UVS. Made me miss my family so much because he was walking around with his kids. I got to chat with... I'm sorry, David, I've forgotten your daughter's name, but I chatted with Joseph and his daughter a lot. I gave them $10 to go get some sweets and get really hyper for their parents. We were talking about Minecraft and all the stuff that's going on. I showed him Bug Snacks, which is Flynn's favourite game, and he liked it. We got talking about Bluey. Part of the HLC prep for the LCQ was me, Matt, Cody, and Kyle all in my room watching Bluey on Cody's phone.
Oh, important question.
Yeah.
Did you take over the miraculous stuff for
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only have 2 boxes left.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave Zeno Robinson a starter deck because he voices Nino. I gave Shane Duckworth a starter deck, and he also took 25 of my High School Musical 3 packs and gave me a stack of stickers.
Okay.
Which is where you got yours from as well.
Yeah.
I gave Sean O'Brien a Miraculous starter deck because you can't get them in the US, and I thought that'd be quite interesting for him. I made sure to give one that Will Howard would be able to get hold of because he only popped in and I was in the middle of a draft when he popped in. But you get to play George Amma Odro 1, you get to play Vile Season Minata, you get to play... Yeah, it's good. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. I imagine that David's going to stream it. Unfortunately, Robin is currently in Washington until the 21st. I literally dropped him off like a couple of hours before the stream. So I won't be able to take part unless Flynn is being very, very good. It's all TTS based, so you don't have to worry about actually getting hold of the cards. But that's going to be quite interesting. But yeah, so we'll be back next Sunday with a Yu Yu Hakusho tier list.
Mm-hmm. And just talk about the release tournaments and stuff.
Talk about what you're going to be playing and what I would play and what we'll be hoping to get. And I might try and jump on during the week because I have got 3 boxes of 7th Cross that I need to open. And with Robin away, once Flynn goes to sleep, it is half term, so he's going to be very active. Once he goes to sleep, I might jump on and open them up, mainly because I thought I'd filmed enough content, but then I forgot it's half term, so I'm not going to be able to film any gameplay content for this week. So I'm going to try and get that content out. I mean, yeah, you can, as there's a still playing, you can just pay for life. Okay, we were wrapping up, but now we're going to go through this. So you got your 6 characters that you can play at the Let's Play UVS. And they all have had significant power boosts throughout the sets, just haven't actually seen play. You've got Asui 2, which plays Tasty Riff really well as well. Because, I mean, Asui 2, you get... If your attack's not blocked, your next attack gets +2 speed. Discard 1 card from your card pool, your ranged attack gets +4 damage. So if you're playing the range package, basically block this and my next one gets hard to block, and I get 4 damage on my next attack. Don't block it, and if you're playing something like Tasty Rift, you go, cool, I get to draw.
Tasty Rift isn't ranged, right?
Yeah, but you don't need to. If you launch Tasty Rift as your first and go, don't block. If you don't block this,
they always block Tasty Rift.
Yeah, everyone blocks it.
I don't think you play Tasty Rift for an Asui.
But then you also get, so basically you get +4 damage to your next attack if it's ranged.
Yeah, I don't think you play Riff.
Okay, but you can play Riff in Ojo. You can play Shoji.
Yeah, you can't play an Ojo.
I can't play an Ojo, no, but you get in Ojo you get Reciprocal Burst. You get
Charge Shield Breaker.
Yeah, Charge Shield Breaker. You get a lot of the Minata. You've got Vile Seizing. You've got Blue Flame Torment. You've got Tasty Riff on the water symbol. But the best thing you can do with Minata is just block, burn 1 health, commit them down, and then 1 point free them to death. Present Mike, I mean,
it's bad.
Yeah, you got the fire symbol and you're looking to mill, you just put a lot of 1-man Infernos in there. Has life, so can still play Tasty Riff if you're going down that line.
Yeah.
Twisting Azure, yeah.
Ojo
has Twisting Azure on 2 of its symbols. Mount Lady has False Jack Hero and has is it Canyon? Canyon, which one?
No, you're thinking of the 6th diff.
Yeah, the 6th diff.
Titancliff.
Mount Lady 1 has Titancliff, which lets you build in another Mount Lady, which is just value. As well as being on Void means has access to the kick package, rejuvenating. On the good package, you get access to a lot of the good stuff. Mount Lady 1 is a massive threat, and I've played against Mount Lady 1s that are so hard to deal with, especially if you can get some decent throws on there. Because on Void, you get things like Berserker Bite, which is great defensively, and then if you can put enough damage on it, great offensively. I've played a lot of Minata. Ojo 1 with the kick package is an absolute nightmare, especially given how it shares 2 symbols with Seizing as well. Because you can also play the Hardened Barrage package. Mezzo Shoji Infinite Punches is a thing because it's got the all symbols, so you can play the Hardened Barrage, Award the Victor, All Might's Mentorship combination, which you can just pick up All Might's Mentorship or Hardened Barrage for 3 or 4 life, and then you just got have you got a high block? If not, I win the game. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's just George stage, right? But yeah, we can wrap it up there.
Yeah, we'll quickly go over that for Disaster Dan and everyone else. I think this is gonna be a really cool thing, and I think Dave's gonna get a lot of content on this. I'd love to start doing events ourselves. It's just UK's a bit awkward for online play.
Yeah. And just finding the time for you and I with families to do that sort of thing, right? So,
exactly. I have asked Sean if I can hijack the webcam work studies in 4 weeks because my birthday falls on a Tuesday, and I'm like, excellent. Can I have that? I just want to steal that day as a Dabby day and just force everyone to play Dabby.
Well, maybe make them play Todoroki Family, right? So there's a bit of an option rather than just playing...
Spoilers!
I think everyone knows it by now.
I mean, you don't want to make him play the Blood family. You just make him play the League of Villains, because that's the Found family. That's the family he chose.
Okay. But yeah, so yeah, thanks everyone for watching along.
Disaster Dan, reach out to me on Discord because we're going to wrap up now. I've built. I've built a Twisting Azure Dark Tournament teamwork kind of like all actions list as well. I just need to choose a character to make it work. But as Richard is desperately trying to wrap up because we've got stuff to do. Thanks everyone for being here. Please do check us out on YouTube. We've got another HLC wrap-up video. We've got shorts of Levi doing dancing. I'm going to hopefully get back on this week with some box openings. We've got deck profiles. We've got a Discord you might see below if you want to give us some suggestions of what content you'd like to see. And we'll be back on Sunday. So if Richard wants to do the shilling of the algorithm things, we'll wrap up there.
Yeah, so yeah, thanks everyone on Twitch for watching along. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Click the buttons, like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Really helps with the channel. And we'll catch you all next time. Thank you very much.
Right, everyone. Bye.